Today I wanted to talk about the advantages of buying cards from places like Book Off rather than the main stream card shops in places like Akihabara and so on and so forth. Now, when you go to Book Off, which is it's kind of a second-hand bookstore, given away by the name of the store, Book Off, but they also do a number of other items, CDs, game software, pretty much figures, toys and different things as well. Over the last year and a half, 2 years, they started to sell singles as well. And I have found that they only have sort of like maybe the bigger stores have quite a large display, but the smaller sort of like high street stores only have like a meter or 2 meters worth of kind of like a display area for cards. And because of that, they kind of circulate their cards quite regularly because they don't have much real estate. So two factors. One is the staff don't have so much experience for cards, I have found. So sometimes you get some lucky finds where they haven't been able to price them properly or didn't know what they were displaying. And you do find some very, very good bargains. Other times, like some of the cards I'm going to show today, which I picked up about an hour ago, have been on display, but because they haven't moved, they have put them in the discount section and done something from 20% off to 50% off. You always double check those cards to make sure there's no damage on them, but most of the time they are trying to just shift them out of the display cabinet. So they can put out newer cards which they've bought in their small display case, whereas the larger card shops have the luxury of storing them behind a counter or displaying them in a sort of like a sub display case because they've got the real estate to do so. Book Off doesn't have that luxury, so you do find some kind of nice kind of bargains. Now these first ones are just kind of like little cards I found, but this is pretty cool for 100 yen. And then this card is going up very well in the West, the English version. Now I think it will be another video to talk about this, but basically these kind of cards which are kicking off in the West, the English versions, I believe these will do very well in about 6 months to a year's time for the Japanese. We're always a year behind whatever happens outside of Japan. It kind of catches us up. So it's like Back to the Future. So I'm actually going out my way to pick these cards up, but this was 4,300 yen with 20% discount. So this was around about 3,000 and what is that? 3,700, something like that. So that's pretty good, and there's absolutely no damage at all. Perfect copy. Now this card here is the alt art from this set for the waifu, and this is 50% off. So this was just 2,150 yen. That's like, you just can't go wrong with that. That's just superb. And then I thought this was really good value for money. This card is absolutely pristine, nothing wrong with it, and it was 2,800 something yen with 50% off. So we're talking basically 1,500 yen. That's 10 US dollars. That's outstanding value. And then just a few kind of like odd cards for promos, and this was from a kind of starter deck, but basically for 200 yen, and I had a 100 yen discount voucher as well from the app that I use for Book Off. So Book Off, I have found, is a really good place to go in and check the small cabinets that they have. The further afield you go outside of the cities, I have found the better deals you find, because the staff working there obviously have not been trained. They only use the computer to look up prices. They don't generally have a great deal of knowledge about collectibles compared to, say, a fully fledged card shop. And because of that, you can sometimes find stuff that's been mistakenly priced, or you can find stuff that they have discounted over the top. Like, for example, I believe that was overly discounted, 50% off of that, 2,150 yen. That is outstanding value. That is just outstanding, and that's in Tokyo. Now, if you go further afield, if you're traveling around Japan, you can find a book off pretty much everywhere. So it's always worth having a look at the book off. If you've got time to sit around and go through the bulk boxes, which are 30 yen or 50 yen a card, sometimes you can find some really good holos in there from older sets, and sometimes Charizard holos as well, which is pretty cool. I have found those in the past. So and some really good promos as well mixed in with that bulk as well. So that's also a hot take there. If you're in the countryside in Japan on holiday, definitely check out Book Off. No sponsorship from Book Off or anything, but yeah, I have found some really good deals there. So if you're in Japan, check them out, and bye from Tokyo.